Is it legal to have a python in Florida? Here's the real answer. Florida is famous for sunshine, beaches, swamps, and snakes. Over the last few decades, pythons have become one of the most talked about reptiles in the state, especially because of the growing population of invasive snakes in the Everglades. That has led many people across the United States to ask the same question. Is it actually legal to own a python in Florida? The answer is a little more complicated than a simple yes or no. Some python species are legal under certain rules, while others are heavily restricted or banned entirely. Florida has some of the strictest exotic reptile laws in the country, and those laws continue to change as officials try to protect native wildlife and ecosystems. Let's break down the facts in a simple and easy-to-understand way.
Florida has strict python laws. Florida's python problem didn't happen overnight. Beginning in the late 20th century, large exotic snakes started appearing in the wild. Many experts believe some escaped from breeding facilities during storms, while others were released by owners who could no longer care for them. Over time, invasive snakes, especially the Burmese python, began reproducing in the wild. Today, thousands of pythons are believed to live in South Florida. They prey on native animals and disrupt ecosystems, which forced state officials to create stricter laws regarding ownership and transportation of large reptiles.
Are pythons legal in Florida? The short answer is some are legal and some are restricted. Florida divides exotic reptiles into different categories based on danger level, environmental risk, invasive potential. Smaller and less risky snakes are generally easier to own, while larger invasive species face tougher regulations.
Ball pythons versus Burmese pythons.
One of the biggest misunderstandings comes from confusing different python species. Ball pythons are among the most popular pet snakes in America. They are smaller in size, non-venomous, calm, and easier to handle. In many cases, owning a ball python in Florida is legal, although owners still need to follow proper reptile regulations and care standards. Burmese pythons are a completely different story. Because they became an invasive species in Florida, strict laws now regulate them heavily. In many situations, new ownership is restricted. Breeding rules are strict. Transportation requires authorization. Florida officials consider them a major environmental threat. The Everglades plays a huge role in this issue. This massive wetland ecosystem provides warm temperatures, water access, abundant prey. That makes it the perfect habitat for large snakes. Once invasive pythons established breeding populations there, controlling them became extremely difficult. As a result, Florida lawmakers tightened regulations to prevent additional releases into the wild. Why releasing pet snakes is dangerous. One of the biggest concerns isn't responsible owners, it's irresponsible releases. Some people buy baby snakes without realizing how large they can grow, how long they can live, how expensive they are to care for. When owners panic, they sometimes release the snake outdoors. In Florida's warm climate, certain species can survive surprisingly well. This is exactly how invasive populations can begin. That's why wildlife experts constantly remind people, never release exotic pets into the wild. Owning a python is a big responsibility. Many Americans are fascinated by exotic reptiles, and pythons can be incredible animals to observe and care for. But owning one isn't simple. Even smaller species require proper heating and humidity, secure enclosures, specialized feeding, long-term commitment. Some pythons can live for 20, 30 years or more. That means buying a python isn't just a short-term hobby, it's a serious responsibility.
What Florida wants from owners. Florida's reptile laws are designed to encourage responsible ownership, public safety, environmental protection. Depending on the species, owners may need permits, registration, secure caging standards, Documentation. Officials also inspect some facilities to ensure reptiles are safely contained. The goal is simple: prevent dangerous or invasive species from escaping into the environment. Why pythons fascinate Americans? Despite the controversy, pythons remain incredibly popular in the United States. People are fascinated by their size, their strength, their unique behavior. Videos about giant snakes, reptile collections, and wildlife encounters attract millions of views online every year. For many reptile enthusiasts, owning a python is about appreciation for nature, not danger. But Florida's situation shows what can happen when exotic animals are not managed responsibly.
Interestingly, Florida's invasive python problem has also created a new culture around python hunting. The state now hosts organized removal programs and competitions where trained hunters capture invasive snakes from the Everglades. Some participants even earn money by helping reduce python populations. This has turned invasive snake control into wildlife conservation, outdoor adventure, public awareness campaigns. And it's one reason the topic has become so popular across the U.S. The balance between freedom and protection. At the center of this debate is a difficult question. How do you balance people's freedom to own exotic pets with the need to protect the environment? Florida continues to adjust its reptile laws as experts learn more about invasive species and ecological risks. Some people believe ownership should remain available with strict responsibility. Others think large invasive reptiles should be banned entirely. No matter where someone stands, one thing is clear: Florida's python issue has changed the conversation about exotic pets forever.
So, is it legal to have a python in Florida? The real answer depends on the species, the regulations, and the owner's responsibilities. Smaller species, like the ball python, are commonly kept as pets, while invasive giants like the Burmese python face strict restrictions because of the damage they've caused in the Everglades. Florida's experience is a reminder that exotic animals are not toys. They're living creatures that require knowledge, care, and respect. And in a state where giant snakes already roam the swamps, those responsibilities matter more than ever.